Hello everyone and welcome back. A few months ago I published kind of a shaky video, not my best, and it was on these twin Zenith radios. The model numbers are 5S29. They're from around 1936. So this is the worst of the two, at least from a physical condition. A lot of rust on the chassis. Looks like it's had some water exposure at time, or at least been sitting in a very humid area that allowed all this rust to build up on the chassis and the tuning condenser, as you can see here. So I think I'll tackle it first, and we'll see if we can get this working. If not, we'll turn it into a parts radio and use that to move forward with the other Zenith. So hopefully between the two I can save both. If not, we'll have at least one good one. That would be the desired outcome anyway. So let's take a look here at the chassis again in more detail. We'll start out with the tubes themselves, and this particular tube here should be the rectifier tube, the 5Y3, or I did notice on the schematic this particular radio uses a 5Y3 or a 5Z4. So I have to research that just a little bit, see what the differences are, and find out why Zenith allowed or chose to use both tubes. But anyway, I'm not sure if that's showing up on the marking. That's a Philco tube, and this may be the original Zenith tube. But moving over here, this is the 6F6, and this is the power output tube. And it's obvious this tube is not original, and you can see I'm also missing the tube shield, but this would be the 6B6, 6 Baker 6, and this is the second detector AVC tube, and you can see it's a tungsten tube. And then moving back here to this location, this should be the 6K7 Ief tube. And then back behind it here is the 6A8 first detector oscillator tube. So I believe that's it for tubes. We'll look here at the power transformer. Again, it's kind of the bigger, bulky transformer. I've had a lot of Zeniths that had failed power transformers. They just seem to be weak, and the the design seemed to be very close to the current consumption required to power the tubes. So we'll definitely give this a check out and see. Another thing neat on this radio, both cans here, the electrolytic cans, are standing. So we'll do our best to get the junk off of those and see if we can restuff them. According to the schematic, it looks like they're around 8 microfarads in value. And then moving back here to this location, this is the second Ief transformer here. And then we looked at this one just a few minutes ago. That's the first Ief transformer, and you can see it again. It's attaches itself there to the 6K7 Ief amplifier here. And then right behind it, you can see the oscillator coil. And then back behind this is a pre-selector coil. And then associated with the pre-selector coil, if you look at this, there's a high frequency detector coil, and as well as there's something else hidden there also. There's another coil adjustment as well, an HF trimmer adjustment. Going back to the tuning condenser itself, you'll see there's 3 adjustments here, 1, 2, 3. You start here in the rear. This should be the oscillator adjustment, and then moving to the center would be the pre-selector, and then the detector is the one up toward the front itself. Looks like the radio has 2 pilot lamps here, I can tell, at least from this point. And the tuning mechanism should be belt driven, or at least that's my understanding. The other chassis that I had some spare belts and some documentation in there. So once we pull this out, we'll be able to take a closer look at it and see. And in just a bit, we'll look at the speaker closer. But let me look at this power cord just a little bit better. It looks like it is dry rotted, so I'll probably go ahead and snip it off, get it out of the way. And then we'll start pulling these tubes out one by one and just check the values and see if we've got the right tubes in the right sockets, and then we'll unbolt the chassis, and we'll take a look underneath for the first time together. Before we get to the tube removal, I thought I'd show this. I didn't realize it had been spliced because it was all coiled up back in behind here. But of course that's not the proper way to do a restore or repair. I mean, whatever, it was the right way to do a repair. You got to do what you got to do to make these things work. But anyway, that's the way the line cord was spliced. And I noticed the line cord on the other 5S29 was also been replaced. So for folks out there, I would be curious to know if this is the original line cord. I would guess it is. I think a lot of the radio manufacturers started switching over from cloth back to the rubber wire around this same time, 1935-36. And when I'm looking at this, you can see how dry rotted this is if it shows up here on camera. So I'm going to just assume this was the original. Somebody out there has done another restore on one of these. If you could let me know, that would be perfect. So let me get this in the garbage, and let's start pulling these tubes out as I spoke to just a moment ago. See what we've got.